Hello and welcome to yet another edition of your weekly international current affairs program, Globe Watch, from the Cameroon Radio Television with me, Charles Obini, Ed from the Hilton Hotel here in Yaoundé, Cameroon. They constitute a majority of the global population, estimated at 8 billion today. I'm talking about women who make up at least 50% of the global population. But there are conditions when it comes to human rights, economic emancipation, and involvement in the highest level of policy making has always been a challenged situation. Since 2021, a new movement came in simply called as G100. That is the group of 100 women. What new are they adding to the global feminist movement? My guest today is the president and founder of the G100 initiative. Dr. Rai Habin, welcome to Globe Watch.
Namaste. Thank you so much for the very warm welcome to Cameroon. My first time here in the beautiful city of Yaoundé.
Oh, well, you are graciously welcome to the great city of Yaoundé, the political capital of Cameroon. My first question to you is that what captioned you, motivated you, inspired you to create G100?
It did. I studied at the Sorbonne. So I did my master's in London and then I did my PhD in the Sorbonne. And I remember
Sorbonne in Paris, France,
in
right?
Paris, yes.
Yeah.
And I remember having this conversation with somebody who said it's very lonely at the top. And without really thinking it through what I meant to say, but intuitively I answered to that, only if you are alone. And for the longest time, while I was at the head and helm of all these different programs that we've initiated for connecting and uniting women of the world, I was the global chairperson. And then one day I was thinking through, how can I attain this mission million that we have set a goal for? I am just one person. And I just thought to myself, I wish I had 100 global chairs instead of just one global chair, which is me. And then I heard myself and said, what's stopping me? What's stopping us from having 100 women at the top who are leaders and experts in their sectors? We set up 100 different sectors, find the women in those sectors in as many interdisciplinary ways as we can, and begin uniting these circles of solidarity around the world in 100 countries. So G100, like the G7 or G20, is our tentative and as our way to englobe all. Like my Prime Minister in India says, it's time to have a G-all. So no more groupings that exclude, but groupings that include. And I'm very proud to say in the G20 India presidency, which was just this year, we have been able to include the African Union as well into the G20. So it's really time for a G-all, and G100 is a step towards that, because in most of the groupings you hardly see women's leadership at the top. So here is our answer to saying, where are the women leaders? Here they are.
Fundamentally, the difference between G20, G7, G5, G11 is a nation-state affair and institutions, barely a few. I just wonder how you coined this in your school years to become a global movement. In simple English, how has G100 evolved? Over.
So it has evolved through the 100 global chairs. So I get around me 100 women as the founder and president. Each one, let's say we have soul sister Caroline Sack-Kandem. We call each other soul sisters because we are a discourse of unity, of feeling this connectedness no matter what country, what culture, what background we are from. So Caroline Sack-Kandem is the global chair for migrants and refugees resettlement. That is one of the wings, one of the 100 wings of the G100. And we just have had a conference that started yesterday and it's continuing till today, which will come up with recommendations. We already have 100 recommendations from the group, and I'll come to that later. So through the 100, each global chair gets 100 women who are experts in that sector in 100 countries around her. each country chair then gets another 100 women in her country through the regions, through the districts, through the cities, in order to involve the local into the global. So it's a complete lattice. It goes vertically, it goes horizontally. Sorry, it goes vertically, it goes horizontally.
Who inspired you? You come from a country where the caste system is very powerful, India. I know that one of the fewest countries in the world to have produced a female leader, of course, was India, Indira Gandhi in the 1960s, the former prime minister. I just wonder who inspired you, Hillary Clinton or others of the feminist movement?
Have you been to India?
I think I have flown over India.
Well, that's not the same as coming to India. I invite you to come to India and visit my country and really feel the power of the Indian woman. India is the only country and the only ancient civilization that put the divine feminine out there, saying God can be a he, God can be a she, God can be an it can be whatever. So it's the only culture in the world which has a concept of Ardhanarishwar, saying that divine, whoever we call God by whatever name, is 50-50. Gender parity right there, embedded in the spiritual system. And in our culture, we worship the divine feminine as the divine mother. So even warriors or even soldiers or the people in the military who would go to the borders and fight will bow their heads to the divine feminine, asking 100 has a counterpart denim club partner, and we are very proud to say we actually have a serving head of state who's a denim club partner, the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo from Africa, who's the first one. Yes, absolutely. He came on the denim club for the wing of human rights, and that was a great motivation for us. And here we are. This event is under the auspices of the First Lady. In Egypt, we had an event under the auspices of the President. So we are making inroads into like my soul sister Caroline said yesterday, the opening, vive la solidarité, le partenariat entre la société civile et le gouvernement. It's very, very important to have this partenariat with everyone. And so these 10 themes that have emerged, one is about education. How do we bridge the gap? So we are working with actors who normally don't think of don't see themselves working for gender equality, but will see themselves working for education. Many corporates, for instance. So if we can get people's efforts into education, even if they don't think they're working for gender equality, it will bridge the gender gap in education.
I just wonder, when you are creating G100, the group of 100 women, you must have seen the multitude of initiatives, institutions, just to promote the feminist agenda. If you permit me call your association or your idea or your think tank a feminist forum.
I don't mind, but we are more than that. Because we are about everyone.
You are more than that.
Yeah.
What was missing in all other associations that you said, this is the problem I have to solve?
I think it's really about bridging the gap.
Okay.
Every other organization is also trying to bridge the gap, and we are simply uniting. We're a network of networks. We are simply uniting the women of the world who also have their own networks. Caroline has AWEP, which has been doing excellent work on the continent for the longest time. Likewise, we have many sisters. We have a Nobel Peace Laureate who's quite a voice in the Arab world. She's also a businesswoman. So we have these women who are very influential, who have their own networks, who have their own businesses, and our work is simply to put them together into an organizational structure, because with their power and with their collective power,
network,
we can open doors, we can knock at the doors of the government and create, and again bridge that gap, create those roads and highways between the civil society and the corporates, between the civil society corporates and the government, between the government, civil society corporates and the universities, with the schools. We can bridge the gaps which are there, connecting all the good people out there, and there are many who want to do good things, and just make it happen, be the facilitators.
You are meshed in the heart of, or at the heart of one of the most catastrophic calamities which has hit humanity. COVID-19, plus 300 million people died. The global economy was affected each day, at least $1 trillion lost. When you look at the years of existence already of the G100, you conclude that you have made a positive impact, right?
Yes, we have.
what assessment do you make of your activities?
Well, usually...
How much impact have you had? If you can quantify it.
Well, I think we have created confidence and a sense of boldness in the hearts and minds of women. And I think when you do that, you awaken the champion mindset. You awaken the mindset that I can do anything that I set my heart and mind to. That yes, I am possible. Yes, whatever I believe and I want is possible. Yes, I can do whatever I set my heart to. Yes, we can do and achieve the ambitious goals and aims that we have set out ourselves to. I think just that sense of confidence, yes, quantifying impact is very important, but I think the kind of suffering that we see today, you mentioned the Sustainable Development Goals, and all those goals over there are actually qualitative. Yes, quantitative, so that we see zero hunger, so 7 billion people or a little more than that can have 2 square meals a day, can have decent work conditions, can have clean access to clean water, can have we can bridge the digital divide, we won't have any violence against women. So yes, of course, when we talk of quantitative, literally every woman in the world has faced some sort of abuse, some sort of exploitation. So yes, we want to eradicate that for half of the world's population. But I think what we are trying to do really here is inject a certain enthusiasm, a certain confidence, a certain sense of you are not alone, you are not abandoned, and we are here for each other in a spirit of no matter, as just being women, just being there to help each other in solidarity and support. I get phone calls, or I meet women who would actually tell me, thank you for finding us. Just this sense of feeling connected, united, and that somebody understands you. And that's also translating into our institutional confidence. For instance, there is a study that says that a seat on the table does not translate into a say on the table, because there are mindsets against, like, if a woman is sitting there, and even if she's from the best of the institutes or the Harvard, or she's she's very, very talented.
MIT,
still,
the Massachusetts
MIT.
Institute
My
of
husband's
Technology.
from there sitting
Okay.
here. So even if from MIT or wherever, she will have to prove herself again and again that she's capable, that she's competent, and that she knows, and that she can back her ideas. Whereas for a man, being a man is enough. And there are researches on it, there are studies on it, and this is not something I'm speaking from my angst. So we are trying to change that, saying at the moment there's a 30% rule that for to have, if one woman has a seat on the table, she needs 2 other women. So out of a group of 10, you need 3 women on the table to have a say equivalent to that of 1.
If you are here in Yaoundé, it's for a gathering which focused essentially of women as refugees in conflict zones and the way they are treated. Why it's such an issue critical to G100 now?
I think any issue that concerns women, and especially women, because we are most affected. We are the frontline soldiers of the family. And any kind of conflict that happens first will be borne by the woman. She is most vulnerable, and this is not just true of the African continent, this is true of conflict zones everywhere in the world. We are the first ones to be affected by any situation of war, any situation of scarcity, any situation. We are the last to get resources, even in terms of food. The woman is the last one to eat. She gets less vitamins, she gets less iron, she gets less nutrients, she gets less of everything, less of vaccines, less of medication, less of sleep. And there was a study which said an average woman wakes up 2 hours before everybody else in the house, because she prepares the food and everything, and she sleeps on an average 2 hours after everybody has slept. So there are gaps on every account for women, and more so for women who are on the margins of society, who are most vulnerable. And the gaps I'm talking about are women who may have access to means of decent income, basic food, but women who are refugees or women who are migrants are in very, very vulnerable situations, and can be more prone to situations such as trafficking, situations such as abuse. So it is important that we do not forget our sisters on the margins and make an intentional outreach to them. So I'm so proud that you are doing this in Cameroon and for Central Africa, and the way we saw the support of the First Lady and the ministers over here, this is truly has been a very, very touching moment for me, and for this I will be forever grateful to Cameroon.
While you will be forever be grateful to Cameroon, probably you will never be grateful to some of the challenges which may face, which you may face in executing your actions for the association G100. Over the past 3 years that you have been existing, or 2.5, what are the key rollbacks that you have seen that disturb you from having the needed value you are seeking for women?
Yeah, I think one of the challenges one sees as we move, because we work with Godspeed in a way. We are women who make things happen, who deliver. So we are very keen to be just included. You know, we offer free membership to people to come be part of us. When we go to institutions, we've had meetings with UN or corporates, and people always ask us, what do you want? And we say, we want nothing. We don't want any money. We don't want you to fund anything. We just want to be included. We just want to be integrated in whatever you are doing.
You have enough resources to carry your movement, right?
Yeah, so the resources, I talk always in terms of resourcefulness. And the resourcefulness is beyond money. It's beyond physical resources. It's a will to share. If you come to India anytime, and people always wonder, even when there is poverty, how come there is happiness? Because there's a willingness to share. Even if you go to the poorest of the poor, they'll welcome you with, and they'll say, come, would you like to have a cup of tea? Would you like to have
like
chai?
Like the dark side of Mumbai.
Well, Mumbai, yes, Delhi, anywhere in the world, anywhere that you go, India is very diverse. We say centuries coexist in India. But you see the willingness to share, and I'm sure it exists in Africa
the first time
as well.
I was behind the White House, I was quite disappointed somehow.
Where?
The first time I was behind the White House, I was quite disappointed somehow. You can go ahead.
Yes.
Just to say that every portion of the world has its own
absolutely, absolutely. So I think what we are is a women with a certain generosity of spirit. And the generosity of spirit, again, is not about money. Actually, we don't want the money, because there's so much you can do without the money. So I call it like a picnic. And I say, here's the mat, here's the picnic, we are around the table. Everybody just get in whatever you can, and that's the resourcefulness. So you have a network, you have a connection, you have a call to make, you have a song to sing to uplift our spirits, whatever you can get, just bring it to the table.
You said that this year you have held at least 60 meetings.
Yes, since 2021. This year we conclude 60.
Yeah, sure. Okay, now all those meetings, and you said that you don't need the money. You hold them in places, very expensive areas around the world. Who sponsors them?
So the way the G100 functions is, I have been sponsoring my secretariat for the longest time. It's been 10 years. So I have people in the secretariat who support all the global chairs. But after that, everybody takes care and self-finances their own trip to come, to be there. And wherever we have sisters, they make things happen with the network to help them.
Women power.
Sorry, women.
The power of women.
Yes, the power of women and the willingness to make things happen. As I said, we are a network which has a certain generosity of spirit to care and share. We have 100 commitments. So everybody's committed to some value, a humanitarian value in some way or the other. And it happens. When you want to, it happens.
One but last question. How do you see the future of G100 5 years from now?
Becoming and metamorphosing into a much greater force than even I can dream of. And I can only dream of whatever I think at the moment. But we are a group that is constantly on its feet, that's constantly open to new ideas. We are learning as much as we are sharing in equal parts. So we hope that we can stay agile, we can stay open, innovative, in order to become a very relevant organization that can truly be a force and face of all the women worldwide.
If there is one particular problem you would like to solve and sit somewhere one day and say, like President Bush said when he was leaving the White House, that mission accomplished, what is that according to you?
Well, when every woman is without face, it can live with her head held high and live her life without any fear, and go out and achieve her dreams without having an existential crisis every moment, which we have, all of us right now. She can live in a world with safety, she can live with her head held high, and she can go out and achieve her dreams. That would certainly be mission accomplished.
Finally, I hope I got you correctly. Somewhere in the interview, you said with your husband, which means that you are married. When I listen to you talk with a lot of energy, one of the fewest women I have met on planet Earth who is full of energy like you is the founder of Innovate Africa, Sivan Yari. She is based in Tel Aviv, Israel. When I listen to you talk, and characters like you are mostly people who are not married. You are quite different. How do you blend your work and marriage life?
Wow. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got married very recently, couple of years back. And my husband is extremely supportive of me. And in addition to a supportive husband, I've always had and enjoyed, and it's a blessing, and I embrace my privilege, is I've had very supportive parents. My father, my mother. I grew up with no barriers in my mind or heart, my head or heart. I was never told that I couldn't do this. It was always like whatever I wanted to do. So really literally growing with no barriers. So that's the result, that I actually don't see the barriers.
Okay.
And because I was always supported, and I could step forward and do whatever I wanted to do. And I continue to enjoy this support, and I am doubly blessed to have received a partner who continues to support me even more.
And with that, we conclude the interview. Without broken traditions, I know that you come from India. It is quite a society full of traditions. I just wish to know if in your tradition, a man extends a hand to a woman, because if I had to do with a member of the British royal family, a female figure, I will wait for that lady to greet me before extending my hand. So am I authorized to greet you before we separate, or you are the one first to extend the hand to me? Which one is correct?
Well, in addition to being an Indian, I'm also a global citizen. So I would want you to feel at ease and extend your hand if that is what you wish. But I would also be overjoyed to see you do the namaste for my country.
Thank you very much
Thank
indeed
you.
for being a guest on Global Watch.
Thank you so much. Thank you.